Good morning, please be seated. Good morning and welcome to the opening of the 174th session of Rhodes College. I'm Provost Kathy Bassard. I'm also Vice President for Academic Affairs and a Professor of English and Africana Studies. Today, we welcome to Rhodes for the first time the members of the class of 2026 and their families. We also welcome back our esteemed faculty and staff, trustees, alumni, and honored guests. We are so pleased to have you here today for this happy occasion. And yes, we ordered move-in day to be especially nice when it came to the weather. I hear everyone had a wonderful time and a smooth move-in. Before we move to the ceremony, I would like to recognize a few key participants in today's event. I would like to thank our piper, Bruce Erskine, and our Mighty Souls Brass Band for providing today's musical accompaniment. And I'm also grateful for our bearer of the Rhodes Mace, Professor Terry Hill, and all the faculty and staff that made today's event possible. Thank you. Joining me on stage today are a few important people that require introduction. Our president, Jennifer Collins, who will shortly welcome the class of 2026 to the Rhodes community. Member of the class of 2023, student body president and student trustee, David Cattle, and associate professor of English and recipient of the Clarence Day Award for Teaching, Rebecca Finlayson, who will offer her own words of wisdom today in an address. At this time, it is my honor to welcome the 21st president of Rhodes College, Jennifer Collins, to the podium. President Collins.
On behalf of our esteemed faculty, terrific staff, and committed trustees, I am delighted to welcome you, the great class of 2026, to Rhodes College. We've all come here today to celebrate this extraordinary group of students and to extend to you our very best wishes for a wonderful 4 years at Rhodes. The 174th session of Rhodes College has officially begun. I also want to extend a warm welcome to the parents and families who are joining us today. We are all so delighted that you too have become part of the Rhodes family. I look forward to getting to know all of you and to cheering on all the wonderful things your students are going to accomplish during their 4 years at Rhodes. Let me begin by sharing a little bit of information about the extraordinary students who comprise the class of 2026. We have 486 first-year students. 94% of you had a high school GPA of 3.5 or above. 33% of our domestic incoming first-year students are students of color. 36% of all incoming students, including international students, are students of color. 15% of you are first-generation college students. 31% of you are athletes. Among the top subjects of interest for the entering class are biology, business, neuroscience, politics and law, psychology, and my favorite major right now, undecided. And I say that because I want you to have the opportunity to explore so many different areas of interest. You come from 40 states plus the District of Columbia, and from 13 other countries, ranging from Bangladesh to Finland to Nigeria to Vietnam. You have worked as Ooh. We had a little power blank. I think the mic is gone. I can project really loud. Can you hear me in the back? I know they will keep working on the power, but I will just keep projecting in the meantime. You have worked as EMTs and zookeepers. You have started nonprofits and raised tens of thousands of dollars for charity. You are musicians, singers, and talk show hosts, and you have helped paint giant murals to beautify both your schools and our great city. As you sit here listening to the remarkable accomplishments of your new classmates, some of you may be thinking, how in the world, there we go, did the admissions office make this terrible mistake and admit me into Rhodes? That is imposter syndrome talking, a condition that everyone suffers from at different points in their academic and personal careers. I want to assure every one of you that you belong here and that you have the power within you to do great things here. Each and every one of you was chosen out of thousands of applicants to join us at Rhodes because of the unique talents and experiences and viewpoints you bring to our college community. There will, of course, be days here that challenge you academically and personally, but on these challenging days, remember that fundamental truth. You belong here, and there are so many people and resources at Rhodes to support you and lift you up and cheer you on. The way we support one another and truly welcome every individual student into this community is one of the things that makes Rhodes so very special. At Rhodes, you will receive an extraordinary education from faculty members who are devoted to your success. The blessing of that education is both a great privilege and a tremendous responsibility. In terms of privilege, seize every opportunity you can to make the most of your 4 years here. I promise you that you will be shocked by how quickly they fly by, and 4 years from now you are sitting at commencement. Take a class in archaeology or health equity or urban studies, or in a field that you have never studied before. Intern at the Memphis Zoo or St. Jude's or FedEx. Volunteer at a local elementary school or with Best Buddies and give back to this amazing American city that is Memphis. Listen to great music, visit our incredible museums, serve our community, and eat some really wonderful food, and I promise it is more than just barbecue. Play a sport, or at least come out to cheer on your Lynx teammates, or join our incredible Rhodes Singers or our theater guild. Study abroad and befriend classmates who are completely different than you in terms of where they come from and the experiences they have had and the viewpoints they hold. All of this learning that happens both inside and outside our classrooms will point you in the direction of a wonderful career. We take that very seriously. We want you to be successful and happy in your work, both at Rhodes and in the decades of employment experiences that you will have after you graduate. But there is much more to the Rhodes mission than focusing only on individual student success. Your responsibility has to do with the ways that you will use your education on behalf of others, with the responsibility that we have to others. This additional element, our responsibility to serve others, is in the air that we breathe at Rhodes, and it's the spirit that permeates this place. It is why we are here. Your responsibility is to use the power of your Rhodes education to make a positive difference in the world. We expect you to do more than just have a career. We expect you to lead. We expect you to serve. We expect you to lift others up in a world that is all too often unkind to others. We expect you to make a difference in a world that needs collaborative and collegial and thoughtful leaders more than ever before. Our curriculum and our residential community is designed to help you get there. You are going to see new ways of looking at the world, new ways to listen, new ways to search for truth, new ways to pursue justice, and new ways to help others. That kind of education is not always easy, and it is not always comfortable. In the classroom and in the dorm room, your beliefs will be challenged. You will learn to change your mind in the face of evidence, and you will be asked to consider alternative viewpoints and theories. And as a member of this diverse, inclusive, and welcoming Rhodes community, you will also be expected to live with honor, integrity, and respect for others, even those with whom you disagree. Those are the expectations embodied in our Code of Honor that each of you will formally sign this weekend. Television and social media will not have prepared you for any of this. Many conversations there either reinforce a single point of view or all too quickly devolve into cancel culture and insults. In joining the Rhodes community, you are agreeing to do more than that. You are agreeing to stay at the table, to talk face to face, to be kind to one another, and to learn from each other. You are agreeing to do this in the genuine spirit of trying to make the world a better place, even when it is uncomfortable, even when you disagree, even when you think you already know everything there is to know. This is how you will achieve our deepest hope, as described in our mission statement: to graduate students with a lifelong passion for learning, a compassion for others, and the ability to translate academic study and personal concern into effective leadership and action in your communities and the world. We are so incredibly grateful and honored that you have chosen to become part of the Rhodes family. I wish you every happiness and success in your time with us, and congratulations. Let's give the class of 2026 another round of applause. Now it's my great honor to introduce one of those inspiring resources and student leaders to you, the president of the Rhodes Student Government, David Cattle. A senior urban studies major from Jackson, Mississippi, David serves as a student representative on the Rhodes Board of Trustees. He is also a member of the Mock Trial A team and is on the pre-law track. Please join me in welcoming David to the podium.
Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing today? That's good. My name is David Cattle, and I have the privilege of speaking with you about a place I've been blessed to call home for the last 3 years. I won't lie. Standing in front of you today is a surreal experience. Just a few years ago, I was in the same position that all of you are in right now. The only difference now is that I get to stand on stage. Class of 2026, you are truly exceptional. Like so many students over the last few years, you have experienced more in the past couple of years than most people have experienced in a lifetime. Before going any farther, I know we just clapped. I would like to ask everyone that has a student participating in the opening convocation to shower your student unapologetically with a round of applause. In this ever-changing and fast-paced world, we must take a moment and appreciate the special times like this one. So right now, I want to challenge you to be present, not for my sake, but for your own. My job today is to impart some wisdom to help you in this year to come. Now, I understand simply telling you this will not do, and that I am only a few years older than you are. Nevertheless, listen to your Uncle David. To make this advice a little easier to digest, I've come up with 3 things, or I like to say 3 gems that may help you traverse your freshman year. So grab your pen and paper and let's get started. Gym number one, college is a marathon, not a sprint. A couple of weeks ago, or a couple of weeks from now, you would have an opportunity to participate in Student Involvement Fair. Each of you is going to be able to see the many organizations that Rhodes has to offer, from clubs to Greek life. All of these organizations will be at your fingertips. Nevertheless, I encourage you to try what appeals to you and do your best to find your passions here on campus. And when you're ready, and when you feel like you need to branch out, exploring Memphis and its many opportunities is one of the best things I have found that helps me. Whether it's going to a night out on Bill or walking along the Mississippi River, you should know there is a world to explore outside of these gates. But most importantly, when you do this, ensure that you don't spread yourself too thin. There will be plenty of time to enjoy this experience. Gym number two, you get what you put out. Maya Angelou said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." There are a lot of things going on in this world right now. At times, you might feel like you are simply floating around like a leaf in the wind, but I urge you to fight against that way of thinking. Whether it be navigating a friendship, tragedy, or relationship, there will be times you might not be able to control the outcome. Nevertheless, each of you can control how you choose to respond. When you're in class, for example, and there is someone with a different opinion than you, will you keep the same perspective because it's easier? Or will you decide to be vulnerable and expand the depths of your knowledge? Think about that. Last but not least, gym number three. Don't be afraid of change. Today, you enter a new chapter in your academic career, more importantly, your life. As you enter this new period of your life, it is easy to do what is comfortable or what is expected of you. When your mom and your dad or your parents leave, you will be allowed to create your narrative in a few short hours. There are few moments in life where an individual can change themselves and start anew. Now, I want to be clear. Change does not mean you reject the people that helped you along the way or forget what got you to this point right now. Change means finding the courage to be better than the person you were yesterday. Now, you'll make mistakes along the way. That'll happen. But remember this, if you take nothing else from me today, a mistake ceases to be a mistake when you learn from it. Then it becomes a lesson. As I wrap up, I would like to leave you today with one of my favorite quotes to start this year. It goes as follows. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant? Who am I to be gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine, as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Marianne Williamson. I want you to remember this quote. If you ever feel like your light is starting to dim, never be afraid to come find me or the hundreds of people who are here to support you. I can assure you, we have all felt the same way at some point. Class of 2026, you are the masters of your fate. and you are destined to shape this world. Welcome home, Lynx.
Thank you, David, for those 3 gems and that wonderful quote. We will all reflect on that in the time to come. So at this time, I would like to recognize this year's recipient of the Jamison M. Jones Award. Since I got here in 2020, it became apparent that our faculty wear many hats. This is a very service-minded group of people who eagerly pitch in and serve wherever they are needed. And this award recognizes someone who has excelled in service. The Jamison M. Jones Award for Outstanding Faculty Service continues a practice of recognizing faculty service first started by the Charles E. Deal Society at the 1988 Founders Day Convocation at Rhodes College. So this award is being presented today for the 34th time at the 2022 opening convocation. The award winner is a member of the faculty who meets in an excellent fashion the service roles of all members of the faculty. And the competition this year was very, very steep. But I'm pleased to present this year's Jamison Jones Award for Outstanding Faculty Service to Professor Leslie Petty. In 2003, Professor Petty joined the Rhodes faculty as an assistant professor of English after having earned graduate degrees from Louisiana State University and the University of Georgia. Known in her discipline for her scholarship in the areas of feminism and American fiction, Professor Petty quickly made a name for herself at Rhodes as an important contributor to the life of the campus community. In her very first year at the college, she joined the Gender and Sexuality Studies Steering Committee, then known as the Women's Studies Steering Committee, and within a few years was serving as faculty mentor to Sigma Tau Delta, the International English Honor Society, faculty associate for the Rhodes baseball team, assistant director for the Rhodes Summer Writing Institute, and as a member of the Faculty Development Committee. Tenure and promotion followed, and as an associate professor, beginning in 2010, Professor Petty began a remarkable record of important, impactful service to the college. Her contributions included 2 terms on the Tenure and Promotion Committee, including a year as chair, 3 years as chair of the Gender and Sexuality Studies program, during which she coordinated the annual Gender and Sexuality Studies Student Symposium, and service on the Faculty Appeals Committee. Especially notable has been her work as chair of the Department of English, a position that she continues to hold. Taking over this important leadership role in 2016, Leslie worked tirelessly to advance the department, support her faculty, and engage with students. Her collaborative approach has garnered uniform praise from the faculty, and one colleague writes, quote, "Her work in this position has been a model of collaborative leadership and effective facilitation. Rather than working from her own agenda or seeking to advance her own priorities, she instead identifies important questions for the department to address and then creates a space and structure for her colleagues to take up these questions," end quote. Another summarizes the specific accomplishments of the department, quote, "Under her leadership, we redesigned the major to emphasize diversity and difference, developed programs to lure new majors, redesigned our common room as a place for students to congregate between classes, starred in the first departmental video for the Rhodes website, and helped create a workplace that is compassionate collegial, and equitable, close quote. And finally, another colleague adds, quote, Professor Petty has led the department through some of the most challenging times any of us have experienced in our careers. She has expertly held the department together under COVID-19, maintaining clear lines of communication during our periods of teaching remotely, while also continuing to adapt departmental procedures and innovate on the fly, end quote. Beyond her exceptional record as a department chair, Professor Petty in recent years has earned a reputation as the go-to person on campus on a range of high-level governance matters. She served on and then chaired in 2018-19 the Faculty Governance Committee, working closely with the provost and president to reorganize the Office of Academic Affairs. In the midst of this important endeavor, she also served on the President's Strategic Plan Steering Committee, which helped to produce the college's current strategic plan. One of her colleagues who worked alongside her on that committee commented on Leslie's contributions. Quote, throughout our many meetings, which included members of the President's staff, high-ranking college administrators, and members of academic affairs, I marveled at her clarity of vision for the college, at her wide-ranging knowledge of both the Memphis community specifically and higher education more broadly. But what most knocked me out was her professionalism, her forthrightness, and her diplomacy, end quote. Because others recognize these qualities as well, when COVID-19 hit, her colleagues elected her to serve on the college's Planning and Priorities Task Force, a group charged with making difficult decisions and recommendations in the midst of pandemic uncertainty. And not surprisingly, when it came time to assemble a search committee to find the 21st president of Rhodes, Leslie again received the call. That search, of course, resulted in the hire of our new president, Jennifer Collins. Good job. Professor Petty has repeatedly demonstrated her commitment to colleagues, students, and the college, and in doing so has set a high standard for service. As one colleague writes, quote, in many different roles, often without a great deal of public fanfare, Dr. Petty has been working to establish the principles of transparent and collaborative decision-making as part of our academic culture, the set of norms and shared assumptions that guide faculty, staff, and senior leadership in their work, end quote. Over the course of her career at Rhodes, Leslie has been an important exemplar of our shared values. Finally, you may have noticed that she was serving the college today in one of her other roles as a faculty marshal, leading and directing today's Convocation reception. For her extraordinary record of service to the college, demonstrated by her important and impactful work, and informed by her characteristic thoughtfulness, professionalism, and humility, I'm pleased to recognize Professor Leslie Petty as this year's winner of the Jameson Jones Award for Outstanding Faculty Service. Join me in congratulating her. I think he's over here. Great. Congratulations. I now have the pleasure to introduce another wonderful colleague, Professor Rebecca Finlayson, for today's Convocation address. Professor Finlayson joined the Rhodes faculty in 1998 and has made her mark by focusing on the teaching of the craft of writing. As an associate professor within our wonderful Department of English and serving as director of the Rhodes College Writing Program since 2001, Professor Finlayson is known on campus for the impact she has on students' personal development as scholars, thinkers, and writers. Outside of the classroom, her work expands beyond our campus, both in the immensely successful Summer Writing Institute, which attracts high school students from across the country, and in local high schools, where Professor Finlayson and her writing fellows have formed partnerships to improve the teaching of writing in our community. She is an inspiring role model who creates intentional community in each class, offers a unique approach to teaching writing, and encourages confidence, experimentation, and growth. Here to present an address titled Your Voice, please help me welcome to the podium the 2022 recipient of the Clarence Day Award for Outstanding Teaching, Dr. Rebecca Finlayson.
Thank you, Provost Bassard and President Collins, and all of you assembled here. Before I start, I have to acknowledge one of my oldest, dearest friends and a wonderful colleague, Leslie Petty. I'm so thrilled that she got that award. She's so well-deserving. This is my 25th convocation, and it's a very special day for two reasons. Today is the first time in 3 years that we have been able to hold our opening convocation in person, and actually at the beginning of the academic year. Today is also special because it is not only a welcome to you students and your families, but also a welcome to our new and much anticipated president. For these reasons, I am both honored and excited to address you today. That this task is given to a member of the faculty speaks volumes about the centrality of the academic program to the Rhodes overall mission. And so I accept it with genuine gratitude. A convocation marks the official beginning of the academic year. It is thus the occasion for you to think about who you want to be over the next 4 years, what you want to learn, and how you can make a difference. Having trouble with it. It's right in the middle of my speech. All right, as I sat down to write this speech a few weeks ago, my screen's cursor tapped like my mother's impatient foot, as if to say, I'm waiting. And I was waiting too, waiting for profound, witty words to materialize through the keystrokes of my fingertips. But it wasn't just words I was searching for. It was an idea. It was a grand message that I uniquely could tell you. And that struggle, as you know, is the cliche we all call writer's block. So I tried a few of the strategies I teach in my English courses, and probably some of the ones you've used. First, I spent some time free writing, where I typed without stopping or correcting. This resulted in a lot of run-on sentences, inappropriate autocorrects, and a few swear words. Next, I spent an afternoon constructing a well-crafted outline with several key points, many more subpoints, and an airtight but completely unmanageable structure. So I tossed that. Then I subjected my spouse to a deluge of half-baked ideas and circular arguments, to which he declared, that's a good start. But really, I still didn't know where to start. The irony that I was experiencing writer's block as a writing professor was not lost on me. In fact, it was probably one of the most self-aware, empathetic, and humbling moments I've had in my many years at Rhodes College. As someone who writes every day, generates classroom discussions, gives lectures, and provides copious feedback on student papers, I was suddenly struggling to find my voice, the voice that was supposed to give you inspiration and direction for your college years ahead. It was intimidating. It was intimidating precisely because I understand how empowering voice can be. And this brings me to what I want to talk to you about today, your voice. Over the next 4 years, your voice will be you. Your voice will be your agency, your power, your choice. Your voice begins fundamentally with language. The philosopher Ludwig Wittgenstein, in his widely influential posthumous work, The Philosophical Investigations, writes, When I think in language, there aren't meanings going through my mind in addition to the verbal expressions. The language itself is the vehicle of thought. He asks us to imagine how thought might be expressed in anything other than language. And for Wittgenstein, at least, the answer is that it can't be. Language and thought are inextricably linked and mutually dependent, and this union of meaning and expression ultimately gives rise to your own distinct voice. Early in my teaching, when I used the word voice in class, what is your writer's voice? Can you add more voice to this essay? My students groaned. Their first attempts usually included adding words that had what they called flair or style. But I meant something else. As one of American novelist Philip Roth's characters declared, I don't mean style, I mean voice, something that begins at around the back of the knees and reaches well above the head. I think what Roth's character conveys here is how elusive, defining, and characterizing a voice can be. It isn't just a matter of well-wrought words or clever metaphors. Much greater than that, it is the totality of all your expressive capabilities. In practice, your voice is a combination of the language you bring, the tone you establish, the rapport you achieve with your audience, the shape and structure and cadence of your sentences, the denotations and connotations of your vocabulary, the point of view you inhabit, the kinds of evidence you bring to bear, the arguments and ideas you develop. Each of you will select and combine these elements in fully unique ways inspired by your interests, identities, emotions, experiences, and that uniqueness will be your voice. But your voice isn't something sitting dormant inside you, no more than this speech was sitting somewhere in my brain, fully written and polished. You will develop that voice, and there is no better place to do that than in the collaborative space of the Rhodes classroom. In my writing seminars, we talk a lot about voice as the vehicle of self-expression and assertion, as the way arguments, analysis, critical thinking, and language journey from our consciousness into our writing and into a public space. And the liberal arts curriculum that you all have chosen to pursue makes those spaces rich with interdisciplinary exchange and purpose. In every classroom you enter here, your voice will develop. It will be heard, respected, and valued. Your professors and peers will provide you with the opportunity to take risks, to ask questions, to challenge assumptions and tradition and standards, to justify your arguments, to offer new perspectives, to make connections, and even to admit defeat. Take advantage of this opportunity every day by using your voice. In her 1993 Nobel Prize in Literature acceptance speech, Toni Morrison delivered a resounding statement about the function and value of language, how it is used to empower and embrace, but also to oppress and exclude. She emphasizes the importance of using our language and our voices to emancipate and to generate knowledge through the open exchange of ideas. She said, "Be it grand or slender, burrowing, blasting, or refusing to sanctify, whether it laughs out loud or is a cry without an alphabet, the choice word, the chosen silence, unmolested language surges toward knowledge, not its destruction." And for Morrison, the deep value and vitality of language means that we must accept the challenge to use our voices because our very existence depends on it. She said, Word work is sublime because it is generative. It makes meaning that secures our difference, our human difference, the way in which we are like no other life. Each of you has at the back of your knees and sweeping over your head a voice that is the culmination of your life's experience. From the earliest words that gave sound to your first thoughts to the persuasive essays you wrote in order to be sitting here today. Throughout your education, your teachers provided you with valuable material to generate ideas and ready-made, likely 5-paragraph templates to produce ambitious papers. Now that you are here, I invite you to challenge the status quo and to find new creative, rhetorical, and scientific avenues for your self-expression. Poke and prod at paradigms, debate your classmates, assert yourself, make change, use your voice. For instance, in my academic writing course, my students and I interrogate, in both theoretical and personal terms, academic structures, language formation, and educational standards. We explore how identity and lived experience constitute each writer's subjectivity, your personal values and your will, and how that subjectivity might be rendered in academic discourse, even subversively. We explored the relationships between cognition and composition, linguistics and self-expression, access and achievement, collaboration and knowledge, in order to discover how our voice shapes and is shaped by the systems and people around us. Each discipline, whether it's in the humanities, the fine arts, the social or natural sciences, has its own way to make meaning. As Rhodes students, you now have the opportunity to explore how all the disciplines here can contribute to the development of your voice. In the humanities, you will encounter the history of human thought, experience, and creativity, and gain an understanding of the world that connects you to the greater lineage of human existence. You are not marooned here in the 21st century. You landed here with thousands of years of art, literature, philosophy behind you. Your humanities courses connect you with the voices of the past, both those that have been celebrated and those that have been silenced. And even as your own voice comes from your lived experience, over the next 4 years, your sense of yourself as a human being will expand to embrace the experiences of others like yourself, and more importantly, unlike yourself. In the social sciences, you will learn how you are influenced by and how you influence the social systems and institutions around you. These structures, economic, political, cultural, shape your understanding of the world in ways that are sometimes hard to see. Your social science courses will reveal those structures and show you how they work, how they influence, and how we can resist their pull. As you sharpen your understanding of the complex and often covert mechanisms that enmesh us all in the communities we share personally, nationally, and internationally, you will also sharpen the rigor of your arguments and your view of how things are and how they should be. That rigor will be built on your enhanced ability to understand data and to ground your arguments in evidence as you advocate for your beliefs and values. In the natural sciences, you will study phenomenal reality and find your voice in scientific evidence, not preconceptions, ideology, or superstition. You will learn about the world as it is. Many of your most cherished beliefs about your place in the universe will be challenged. Each day, most of us look up to see the sun and clouds and don't think about the fact that beyond the blue dome of our atmosphere looms a universe 93 billion light years wide, with hundreds of billions of galaxies, each with hundreds of billions of stars, and each star holding in its orbit an unimaginable number of planets. Nor do we acknowledge the billions of years of evolution by natural selection that produce both yourself and the enchanting curly cat purring on your lap, or the counterintuitive realities of quantum physics that transpire beyond our seeing at every moment. But you'll learn these things in your natural science classes, and their obdurate reality should also be part of your voice, the ground from which you express your position, because your position is only valid insofar as it is grounded in reality. But at the same time that the natural sciences teach you what is knowable and what is not, what is fact and what is conjecture, they will also open to you a much bigger, more beautiful, more wondrous world than the one most of us inhabit day to day. We all got a new glimpse of that bigger, beautiful, wondrous world this summer when we saw the images taken by the James Webb Space Telescope. Let that sense of wonder and an openness to the beauty of the natural world guide and inspire your voice. What many of you might not know is that those astronomical images had to be carefully enhanced in order for us to understand the full scientific scope and natural beauty on display. Those enhancements were meticulously rendered by digital artists and developers trained both in aesthetics and technology. By applying color to the telescope's images, they translated light we cannot see into light we can. And in all my years of teaching, I've never encountered a better metaphor for the process of education. The artistry revealed details and structures that we could never before have witnessed, and reminded us that the sciences and the arts often overlap. In fact, the terms beauty and elegance, words we most often associate with the arts, are an essential part of the language mathematicians use. The philosopher Bertrand Russell defined an elegant mathematical theorem as capable of a stern perfection such as only the greatest art can show, but also to generate your own original artwork. And that act of artistic creation will provide you with some of the most direct and intimate expressions of your voice, a voice that has the power to alter perception, to educate, and to inspire. The language of art is the stroke of a brush, the slant of a rhyme, the cut of wood, the curve of marble, the sound of an arpeggio, the imposition of color that reveals the beautiful light of our galaxy we could not see. Each of these major academic areas, the humanities, social sciences, natural sciences, and fine arts, and their many interdisciplinary programs, have at their center your intellectual development. Today, you are at Rhodes because we want to hear what you have to say. So let your voice be humane, rigorous, unflinching, and beautiful. Let it be you.
Thank you for those inspiring words, Professor Finlayson. Following the conclusion of our program today, families may gather outside the Barrett Library and Trout Quad to say their goodbyes. We look forward to seeing many of you again for Family Weekend, September 23rd and 24th. Finally, to close today's program, members of the Rhodes Singers will lead us in our alma mater. Please stand if you're able and remain standing for our recessional.
Dear alma mater, kind of fate that links our lives with thee, for God's own power that made thee great is the truth that makes us free. Thy torch has touched our hearts with flame, our yearning souls refined. Through thee we learn the higher aim, and train the truer mind. O leader to the larger light, Rhodes College neath thy wings, by lone in reverent love unite, and each a tribute brings, and dreams, such dreams as old can dream, and visions youth can see. Keep lighted in our hearts the flame once kindled there of thee.